Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me, as always, is my good buddy.
This is Ryan.
Yeah, it's Ryan. And this week, man, we have a cool little indie game for you guys. Cool little indie game. I was really surprised with it, to be honest with you. But before we get to that, quick little notes. Some cool things going on Steam, which, you know, we're all about Steam here. There is a big summer sale going on, and we, kind of scrolled through that, checked it out a little bit, and man, there's some seriously good games on sale right now. Like, for anybody who's a PC gamer, I highly suggest that you go and check it out. I know that they're not sponsoring us or anything, but like I saw a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah, there's definitely some good sales going on.
I know you picked up the Batman saga, so
the whole bundle. Yeah. Like, I think the only thing that was missing was Origins, and that was what, $15? I think.
Yeah, which that's not bad at all.
That's a great deal for 2 Game of the Year editions.
Absolutely. So, if anybody's interested in that, definitely go check it out. One thing we wanted to touch on is something that I realized off air that we were talking about before we went live, and is that some of the games that we have in our list are not quite games, as they are more collections. So, for instance, I have like the Bard's Tale collection, and I believe that there are 5 Bard's Tale games. So I was thinking that maybe like when we come upon one of those, maybe I'll play 1 through 3, or you can play 4 and 5, or in those types of situations, maybe we can do episodes periodically. Like, so we get it on the list, and then we'll do 1, and then the next episode will be 2, and it'll just kind of like we do a little saga about that series. Yeah. But the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive collections and the Atari Vault collections, and those I think are going to be a little different, and you had a good idea for it, so I will let you tell the people what it was.
Say we can, like, if that comes up, what we can do is each of us will select, like, say 3 games, and we will, without telling the other person which games we're playing, we'll just each select 3 games at random to play ourselves through that collection for that episode.
Yes, and my one input on it was that once we're done with that, we will leave. So we've been deleting games from the list once we beat them. We take them out of the list. That way we can either make room for more, or it just saves us from having to pull up a game that we've already done before. I will leave the collections in the list. That way, if it comes up again, we'll play another 3 each until we can make it through the entire collection, or something like that. We'll get it figured out when the time comes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I really don't have any other housekeeping or anything other than, I've been getting some messages, especially about our last episode about the Outer Worlds. I got some really good feedback about it, so people are digging it. So
that's cool.
Again,
that's cool.
Thank you all for listening, downloading, sharing with your friends. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So today we played The Last Tinker, City of Colors.
God, this game was
awesome. What a
awesome.
cool little fucking hidden gem. Like, I know that is like an overused term.
Yes.
But
no, this is definitely like a hidden gem. I've never even heard of this game. Like, it never even would have popped up on my radar. Like, I don't think I've seen this game anywhere. Even with it being a PS4 release, never heard of it. Like,
I didn't even know it was on PS4 until I did some reading about it. I had only ever seen it on PC.
That's wild. And yeah, like, don't sleep on this game. If you come across this game and you see it's on sale or it has a relatively cheap price tag, definitely get this game.
Absolutely, man. Because it took me. I think I got close to the end. I didn't quite beat it. I know Ryan did, and I was only like 5.5 hours in or so. It's not a long game,
Oh no, it's you definitely got less playtime than I did. I've super aggravating puzzles in this game. I had total of 12 hours of gameplay.
Oh man, the puzzles.
12 hours for a start to finish game, which that's a pretty short game, but it was wildly entertaining. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And to get us started off, I want to read a little bit from Wikipedia about the developer. So, Me Games, formerly Me Productions, is a German video game software development company based in Munich. They are known for developing the platforming game The Last Tinkerer, City of Colors, and the real-time tactics game Shadow Tactics Blade of the Shogun. which was released in December 2016. The company is currently developing Desperados 3, which is set to be released for Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and published by THQ Nordic.
Oh, THQ.
Yes.
So they're starting to get a little recognition from some of the bigger publishers, bigger developers.
Yeah, and the game, the Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, I've heard some good things about that. So,
Yeah.
apparently these guys, they know obviously they know what they're doing. We played this game, and I mean, if this was just a little beginning step.
Yeah, some of my research or whatever about this game in particular, The Last Tinker, is that this was a game that these guys just fucked around with in college and had zero intention of actually publishing it, zero intention of actually putting it out to play. And then they, I guess amongst themselves or some people they let play test it or whatever, was like, this is a good game. You should put it out there. And they did. And it got them started on, their production company actually making a paycheck off of making the games.
And I don't blame them. If I would have had a friend that made this game and was like, hey, will you play this and let me know if it's any good? I'd have told him straight up, yeah, you should release this. This will make you some money.
Yeah, no. You could tell that, this was almost just, a fun project that they worked on. The game itself is really fucking good, but the controls are also super dumbed down and super simple. This is almost like a kid's game. This is like a game that you would give a little kid to be their first video game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's literally, I think you only use 6 buttons, and that's about it.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of control to the game, but even with the dumbed down controls, this game is really fun, and the play is very fluid.
Yeah, and I was impressed with the fighting, how much it reminded me of Batman and how smooth it was.
Yeah.
The only thing that got me was there is no jump button, so that took a little getting used to.
Yeah, but that was just all part of the whole action button,
Yep.
The sprinting and everything like that. And I think that was more because it was a throwaway project originally, they didn't want to go too much into animating and coding the actual jump button, so they just included it all on the the one button. This is everything that this button will be able to do, and that also might make it geared more towards kids.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it added to the fluidity, because as far as the platforming goes, you weren't worried about jumping and landing where you need to. You were just worried about figuring out how to get there.
Yeah.
And it really added to it.
Very little environmental deaths, very little, it was almost, even though you could run around almost like an open world sandbox, you were very limited to where you could actually go.
Funny thing you mentioned that there was very few environmental deaths. I didn't think so either. And when I was looking at this game on Steam, you can go and look at people's reviews. One of the most recent reviews was a negative thumbs down, don't get this game, because the bushes. They were like, if you run into the bushes, you die. This is stupid. And I'm like,
it's a cactus with spikes.
It tells you that they're thorn bushes, man.
Yeah,
avoid them.
Yeah, don't bump into that.
It's so real quick, everything in this game's aesthetic is like cardboard that's been painted on, which is fantastic.
If you paid attention to any of the storyline, that's the whole gist of the game. It's if you have the means, the paper, the colors, you can do anything you want. That was the whole premise of this game, and being the tinker in the game.
Yeah, very heartwarming story too. Very heartwarming.
Yeah, very cute, very cute animation, very cartoonish, and brightly colored. Is definitely, they had kids in mind when they made this game.
Oh yeah.
But I guess I'm still a child at heart, but being older and into some more of the dark, gritty games and more gore fest games and stuff like that, this game rocked. This game was awesome.
Yeah, man, this was a good break from all the murdering that we did in the Outer Worlds.
Oh yeah,
it was a great break from that. But before we get too much more into it, I want to read one more thing. It's on the game itself. The Last Tinker, City of Colors, is an action-adventure game developed by Me Productions for Microsoft Windows, OS X, and Linux, which was released on the 12th of May in 2004. The PlayStation 4 version was handled by Loot Interactive and released digitally on the PlayStation Store on August 19th, 2014 in North America and August 20th, 2014 in Europe and Australia. A retail version published by Dutch publisher Sodesco was released in May 2015 in Europe and March 2016 in North America. An Xbox One version was made and planned, but canceled due to poor sales on the PlayStation 4 version.
Well, they never should have, like, this game was good. Like, what they should have done is they should have just left this as, like, a PC game.
Yeah, I can agree.
And then worked on a sequel, because I hope the developers hear this somehow. Like, make a sequel to this fucking game. Like,
yeah, really.
Make another one of these games, because I really want it. And if they would have just, instead of porting it to the PS4 or whatever, would have focused on a sequel to this game for the consoles, they could have remastered this for re-release if they did well with the sequel. Like,
yeah, and I want to say that, granted at the time this wasn't out, but I think that this game could have new life if it were released on the Nintendo Switch. This feels like a Switch game.
This does. It's very family friendly. It's definitely geared towards kids with the color style, the animation, even the dialogue voices that they gave the characters, just the little grunts, groans, squeaks, and things.
Yeah.
No actual like words or anything like that, but
classic Rare style.
Yeah. This God, like I'm trying to think of anything bad with this game, and I can't. This game was solid.
Yeah. My one complaint was the checkpoint system didn't save if you quit out of the game. So if you were in the middle of a level and then had to close out the game for some reason, and when you loaded it back up, it was going to start you at the beginning of that level.
Yeah,
just a bit of a pain. Yeah. But that's a nitpick. You know what I mean? Other than that, the visual styling in this game,
like a nitpick. The thing that I found most aggravating about this game were how hard some of the puzzles were in this game. Like, you really are going to make me think. Like, there was one point where I got stuck on a puzzle for well over an hour. I had to like rage quit and walk away from my laptop twice.
I know,
just to like.
I know the exact puzzle you're talking about too.
Yeah. Like,
there is a puzzle in the game. So you are the last Tinkerer, and your name is Koru, Koru, and you have a little companion. Was it Tappy or just Tap? Just Tap. Yeah, Tap the little. He's like a little elephant dude.
He's a floating sheep.
Is he a sheep?
Like references. Yeah, they even like references wool and everything.
Okay,
like,
I thought he looked like a little elephant.
He didn't look like a sheep, but that's what he was. Like,
well, it starts off, and you guys are trying to come up with some money to join this race. And, you go around, you do a little couple quests kind of explaining the controls to you. It's pretty much the little introduction to the game. And you end up running the race, and there's the whole premise behind the game is that there was a city of color. And everyone got along and all of that. And then all of a sudden, the districts kind of separated into...
They started, like, becoming, like... Oh, God, I hate to say it, but like xenophobic. Like the Reds only wanted the Reds, and the Blues only wanted to stay with the Blues, and the Greens wanted to stay with the Greens.
Yep.
And there was a divide amongst the colors, and they only shared one common space, and that was the Market District. And even then, they like divided that into color-based neighborhoods.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to play through, and kind of
it was very deep, especially with like.
With everything going on right now.
Yeah, with shit happening right now. Like,
yeah, I thought it hit kind of close to what's going on, and the whole thing is that the Reds basically represent anger, like they are mad all the time, just pissed off.
Yeah.
The Blues are sad, depressed. They think that nothing's going to happen.
Sadness, depression.
And then you had Green, and the Greens are afraid of their own shadow. Like, they are afraid of everything.
Yeah, they were afraid of everything.
So, do you happen to remember the dude's name? The red guy in the beginning who gives you trouble?
Oh, I think it was Balzo. Bolzo.
Balzo. Okay, so we'll say him. He just talks trash to you, basically calling you a stupid monkey kid because, you're a monkey. You play as a monkey. By the way,
The most hipster monkey ever, with like a
Yes.
cap beanie and a scarf,
Some gloves
and
that you get.
everything. Like, yeah, he got some wicked sideburns. Like,
So he's talking trash, saying that you could never beat him in the race, and your little buddy Tap is just a steady talking shit back to him, just like, oh, you think you could beat Koru, whatever, and all that, all that jazz. And so you run the race, and it's like 3, 2, and when they hit 2, Red Dude just
Boom.
hops over the gate and starts running.
hops over the gate and books it. He's already like a good like quarter mile down the track before it even opens on you.
And I was like, all right, so you're gonna beat him, and he's gonna get pissed up. No, you try to beat him, but no,
Yeah.
he beats you every time.
Yeah, and he doesn't just beat you. He's there and waiting, and has like already had dinner and a shower by the time you get there. Like,
So you tell everybody that he cheated, and he gets pissed off and storms off, and nobody gets any dinner or anything. So
Yeah.
you end up.
he's like, fine, fuck you. I don't want this win anyway. If you're gonna call me out for my cheating, and then the mayor of the town is like, well, guess what? No free food for anybody. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh well,
let's punish everyone because this guy cheated.
you all can go fuck yourselves. I'm gonna go buy a new Lambo.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Tap's like, all right, let's just go home. Let's just head back. So you go back to your little living area, and there is Bolzo and all of his goons standing outside of your house, and Tap starts running his mouth again.
Yep.
And this time he gets knocked into next week.
Talk shit, get hit.
Yeah,
Like,
Bolzo knocks the shit out of Tap. And
Yeah.
and I've actually felt bad. Like, he's laying on the ground whimpering and like twitching.
I know, I did too. Like, I shed a little tear. I was like, no, like, this little dude is cute. This little dude is my sidekick. He is my friend, and you're just gonna like fucking knock his ass out like that? No, thank you.
So it's an immediate punch to the heart. So you end up having to kick all of their asses. Well, Bolzo's like, oh, I've never seen that look in your eye before. Get him, boys, and then he runs because he's a little bitch.
Yeah, he bails.
So you kick the shit out of all his friends, and then you take Tap back up to the house and you lay him down and resting. And he's not in good shape at all. He's not in good shape at all. And this little spirit comes to you, which the spirit colors are red, green, and blue. That represent, there's like a little spirit color thing for each of the sections of the city. They like run things.
And there's a fourth one.
And there's a fourth one, which I figured, okay, so there's a purple one shows up and says he can help you.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Maybe he's like the one in charge of all of them. Maybe he's like a mixture of them or what have you. So he gives you the power to heal Tap and then takes you... Is that the point where you go through the portal, or is that the point...
Yes.
Yeah. So you go through the portal and you're running through like this dreamland type place.
Yeah.
And you get to the end of it, and turns out that this little purple dude helping you is actually the bad guy.
Well, he's not like the bad guy. You find this out at the end of the game. I know you didn't.
No, yeah,
you
please
didn't
fill me in.
beat it, but
Spoilers.
You find this out at the end of the game that the purple spirit is just very disheartened and broken about what has happened to Color Town. All the divide and all the anger and all the hate amongst the different colors. So he summons what they call the bleakness spirit, which is the white, the devoid of color.
Yeah.
Like
The enemies of the game.
So yes, the purple spirit was a dick in regards to summoning that spirit, but it turns out that whole thing is a completely separate entity, and it's like
Okay.
a fifth element to the game. Like,
Multipass?
yeah,
Multipass.
I actually have one of those.
Oh, that's fucking rad.
Lulu Dallas multipass.
Fuck yeah. That's what's up. So once you figure that out, it basically drops you back, and you and Tap have to figure out what the fuck's going on. And oh no, I'm sorry. You're still in the dream sequence place, and you find the red spirit.
Yeah.
And the red spirit's like, "Hey man, what's up? How are you?" And like every sentence, like he talks normal, and then he just yells. Like it's.
I don't know if you watched the Disney movie Inside Out.
No.
I think that's what it was called.
No, I've heard
and
great things about it, though.
Like, yeah, where the characters are the different inner emotions of like the little girl the movie follows, and the anger spirit was voiced by God. Why can't I think of his name right now? It'll come to me, but that's all I could think of this entire game was this red spirit is just super angry. Oh, Lewis Black. That's who it was.
Yes, perfect.
Yes. Yes, that's all I could think of this entire game. If they were actually going to give this game like a voice acting or a soundtrack, the red one would have to be Lewis Black.
Dude, I love Lewis Black. That's such a good casting
Yeah.
for someone for
Yeah.
anger. So
Yeah.
you gain the red spirit's power, which is basically you can
It's just hyper aggression.
you can use him and it pumps up your ability to fight. You do more damage when you throw punches and things like that. And he leads you to the red district. So you have to help cleanse the red district of the bleakness. Yeah, the bleakness. I almost said blight. And I'm like, no, that's not right. The bleakness. And he also introduces you to the little vending machines hidden. Well, they're not hidden, but they're spaced throughout the game where you can go upgrade your
dojos. They're dojos. That's what they're called.
Oh, is that what they're called? Well, yeah, they do have a little
Yep.
punching bag hanging from them.
Yep. They're called dojos, and that's where you can upgrade your physical attacks and moves and health, like depending on how many crystals you want to cash in.
Which I definitely took advantage of.
I think I unlocked all of them except for the second health upgrade, which was big money. That was like 450 crystals.
I got that as soon as possible. That was one of the first ones I went through. I went for the stronger punch, and I went for the health ones. And then after that, I started working on my powers and stuff. So you basically you go on from there, and you go and you clear the bleakness from the red area, and it's really not that bad. There's a couple puzzles that were a pain, but they were nothing compared to the next place. The red area was really not that hard. You kind of get introduced to handling waves of enemies and having to defeat there's these big bleakness monsters that it's almost like their tonsils are this glowing ball of color, and you have to defeat their little minions that come out. And once you do that, then that thing spits out that ball of color tonsil doohickey fucking thing, and it sticks out, and you have to run over there and punch the shit out of it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And repeat process. And then once you do that, you beat that, then it clears away the bleakness in that area, and then you can run around and gather, your crystals or your floaty brushes, which were the collectibles in this game, is finding all the floaty brushes, the golden floaty brushes.
And floaty brushes is the actual term used in the game.
Yeah.
It's not something that we're just like dumbing down or making up. Like
Yeah.
It's actually a floaty brush. Like
It's kind of like, we'll get to it eventually, but in Ukulele, when you have to find the pages, and they're called pages, and they talk, and like they're sentient pages. It's great stuff. So you get done with the red area, and then you have to go and fix the green part of the city. And man, were there some puzzles in the green part of the city that kicked our ass. The one in particular that I know Ryan was referring to earlier was, so there are these mushroom guys that help you out, and you can make them big or small. When they're small, you can blow up stuff with them. When they're big, you can make them jump on buttons, or you can ride them later on. But this particular part, there was a spiraling walkway going up with green lights and red lights. And you had to shoot this mushroom dude, so he jumped on a button, so the giant floating enemy wouldn't shoot at you with like a ball of bleakness and kill you. And it was one shot kill. Like, you couldn't get hit and keep running. Like, if it hit you, you had to start over down at the bottom. So you had to run up partway while the light was green, and you had to kind of time it. The light would flash. You had to turn, shoot the mushroom dude again, and have him jump and hit the button to keep it green again for you to keep running, or you would get shot halfway through, and if you didn't hit it just right, like if he jumps on that button but dude's already seen that it's a red light, you're getting hit and you're starting over. That is the part that I know took me at least an hour to get through, and I know Ryan had mentioned that he rage quit twice trying to do it. It was such a pain in the ass.
It was a pain. Like, even though you can sprint and you can like hit the bumper, the right bumper to dodge, you could never dodge the attack thrown by dodge that. The bleakness. Like, there's no way. And it was literally a puzzle of playing that like schoolyard game, red light, green light. If that light was red, you couldn't move. If you moved, you got shot, and you had to start all over again. It was so fucking aggravating.
It was harder than any boss that I fought in this game.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. Like, when your
it's
puzzles are...
like one of the... Yeah, it's a super early puzzle, and this was the hardest, like, mission in the game.
Yeah. I do really like the fact that they put some hard puzzles in here, though, because I do believe that this game could have suffered from being too easy.
Too easy, yeah.
Yeah, so it was good to have a little bit of a challenge in there, and I believe that it was like that puzzle and maybe like two others that gave me a little bit of issue.
Yeah.
Until you reminded me that I could use tap to figure out where the fuck to go, and then it was gravy.
That I love that feature where if you get lost or turned around and don't know where you're going, your partner there, Tap, if you hit a button on the controller, he would travel in the direction that you were supposed to be going and leave like a trail of confetti for you to follow. It was a lifesaver more than once. Like
Absolutely, dude. That fucking thing came in so handy.
Yeah.
And really, I don't really know what all to really touch on more about this game. It's just puzzles and is really a pretty game. I'm really impressed with the visuals of it. I really enjoyed the chat bubbles when you would talk to people were drawn onto cardboard, and if you turned the camera sideways, you could like see the inner workings.
You could see the corrugation in the cardboard. Yeah,
it was wonderful. And
for
just a really feel good story. Like you're bringing in people together. Like you're trying to reunite this city so everyone can be happy again.
That's one of the things that happens as you go through the game. Like you save the red district and you get the reds on your side. They're no longer angry at you, no longer wary of you because you're not a red citizen.
Yep.
Like, and then you get to the green district. The reds actually offer to help save the green district, and they start working together, and then them together, the red and the green, help you save the blue district, and so on until the entire town of Color Town is back together in unison, in unity. Like,
yeah, man, it's just fucking heartwarming. I know I keep saying that, but
this game was seriously like, this game rocked. Like, I cannot like say this enough about this game. This game was great for a super simple short indie game. This has to be one of the best games I think I've played in recent memory. And I know we've had some really good games since we've started this podcast, and I've been playing some games before we started this, and like, I really want a sequel to this game. I hope the developers somehow hear this. Make a fucking sequel. Do it. Just for me. Like, even.
Yeah. I would play it. I really would.
Yeah.
Go ahead, real quick. Fill me in on the final fight, because I know I didn't see that.
Final fight, yeah. So what you do is you find the purple spirit, and he's just like, he's whining and everything. And he's like, let me show you why I've done what I've done. And you entered the dream world again. And you just run for probably about 15 minutes in a straight line, just climbing ropes and everything. And as you're running, you pass by memories that the purple spirit remembers. And it starts off with the colors liking each other. And as you get further into the dreamland, it gets more and more aggressive and hate-filled. Like, the colors start getting mad at each other, and the colors start breaking off from with each other, and then they're like, if you're caught associating with another color, you are committing a crime almost. Like,
ooh.
And then you get to a point where the other three spirits and Tap are just like, no, like, look at these recent memories of what you have done as the purple spirit, bringing about the bleakness. And it goes through a couple more memories of Koru and Tap helping the reds, and then the reds helping the greens, and then the green and reds helping the blues. And then you get to the point where the purple spirit is like, yeah, this sucks. Like, I shouldn't have done this, but I'm glad I did, because now Color Town is back to the way it should be and the way it needs to be. And they're like, cool, now get rid of this bleakness. And he's like, can't do that, bro.
What?
They're like, why? The bleakness shows up, and he's like, because I'm my own entity, ha ha ha. Like, then you have to, then you have to fight that dude. And it probably took me about three, 4 tries to beat him, but it wasn't a super difficult final boss battle. Like, it was like one of those things where you couldn't attack him unless you used like environmental damage against him. he would throw out some attacks, and then he would throw out a bunch of frozen levers, and you would have to unfreeze the levers to generate something. Sometimes you generated health regens, sometimes you generated crystals, and at least one of the 5 or 6 levers he threw out spawned like a thorn bush or a bomber or a Biggs.
And that would be how you hurt him.
Yeah, and if it was a thorn bush, he had to run into the thorn bush, or if it was the bomber, you had to hit him with the bomber. If it was the Biggs, you had to run into him with the Biggs, and then you could only hurt him while he was disabled. And like some of the earlier ones where it took like 5 or 6 times to get that, it was about the same for the final boss. It was about 8 times you had to hit him in that weakened state. But what I figured out is you can do it even quicker, is if you activated your time slowdown when he was down and then unload on him. Because you were getting in your normal speed attacks while time is slowed, so you were hitting him for like double damage essentially. Like, once I figured out that you could chain those together, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, that would make it easy. I didn't even think about that, slowing down time and doing attacks. So see, even this game we played differently.
Yeah, and then like after you beat him, he's just like, remember this, like, I will always be there waiting in the winds for when somebody wants something erased, I will be there to erase it. This isn't the last you've seen of me. And then he disappears. And then it goes into a cute little storyboard animation style. Like, this is Color Town now after this. They're all peaceful and in unison, and everything was happy. The end. Roll credits. Like,
oh, that's cool. They totally left it open where they could do a sequel.
Yeah, and they better, because this game was awesome. Again, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, this game gets like a 9. Like
9 floaty brushes.
Yeah, 9 floaty brushes.
I would probably give it like an 8. So
yeah.
I don't disagree with it. That it was a very good game. I was thoroughly impressed. And on that note, let's go ahead and wrap up The Last Tinker, The City of Colors. And by doing that, we're going to need to wake up our good buddy. So, Steamy! Steamy! What's up, buddy? I know we're bugging you, but, you know, it was that time. We need that number. All right. And it seems that our number this week will be $4.99.
$4.99.
I don't know why I say this week. Well,
that's a good sale.
Yeah, $4.99. So let me reference our list, and $4.99 is going to be Ease 7. You're looking at me
never
like you've never. Yep.
Nope. This is probably going to be 99.9% of our list. Is like.
Yeah, it is.
Don't even know. Is this like a JRPG? Yes. Is this a hack and slash?
Both. Oh. So, do you remember me?
Okay.
Do you remember me telling you like that you really liked? I know you really liked the combat from Hyperdimension Neptunia, or the U Action Unleashed. Yeah. So, Ease is basically that same style of gameplay, but it's a coherent RPG with a good story. I've only played Ease 8, so I'm stoked to play Ease 7. Each Ease game. What I do know is that you play as Adol. I think they used to call him Adol, but they changed that because of similarities of his name and Hitler. So they started calling him Adol, and his buddy Doji, and they go on all these different adventures and stuff. The games did not come out in canonical order, if that makes sense. So like Ease 2 might actually happen after Ease 5 as far as story. You know what I mean? They kind of like think about how Mechana released their albums and the stories are kind of jumbled up, but if you put it all together and play them in the right order, you could play it. But they're considered like separate stories, almost like different anime arcs.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
kind of like Assassin's Creed, how their game releases like vary by time period. Like kinda, yeah. It's more like Dragon Ball Z when it's like the Buu saga's over. And then the next time you're watching it starts up like the Frieza saga or something. You know what I mean? It's like that would be weird.
Each game is
because I'm currently in a Dragon Ball Z binge over the last like couple of weeks, and I just now hit the start of the Buu saga, which is like the very last. It's like 1 or 2 sagas before the finale of Dragon Ball Z as a series, and then it shifts into GT. So you saying that it's like Boo coming before Frieza, that's fucking weird. Like,
Yeah, it's just the way it's broken up. You know, I mean, the stories kind of tie in together, but they're not necessary to play. Like, basically what I'm getting at is you don't have to play Ys 1 through 6 in order to enjoy Ys 7.
yeah.
You know, you don't have to play all of the games to enjoy the ones that are coming out. It's like you can jump in wherever in the series.
Yeah.
But it'll be cool, man. So the next time we talk to you wonderful people, that'll be the game that we're covering, Ys 7. I might message James and see how he feels about this, and maybe if he would want to join in with us on it. I don't know if it's quite JRPG up his alley enough, but we shall see.
Yeah, it would be, if he is down for it, it would be good to get an actual perspective of the game of somebody who is just like all about the JRPGs.
Absolutely, and he is my go-to for JRPGs.
Yeah.
So, all right, to wrap things up, you can check us out on social medias, facebook.com/The Steam Machine Podcast or twitter.com/Steam_podcast.
It kills me. You make me feel so old when you say .com. It's just Facebook and Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody uses the browser versions of those anymore. It's all just mobile based.
Gotta keep it old school somehow.
Yeah, apparently.
And you can find our show wherever you get your podcasts at, or if you don't feel like dealing with all that, you can find us on YouTube. If you just search the Steam Machine Podcast, we will come up, and you can enjoy us there as well.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything else, man.
No, I'm good.
No? All right. Then he's Ryan. I'm Dalton. And until next time, guys, take it easy.